My name is Luke Smelt, and this is my B-tec coursework on the case study of Tim Burton as an auteur. To start with, auteur is the French word for author. The theory states that to be an auteur, the director's film should reflect the director's personal creative vision. Tim Burton was born on the 25th of August 1958 in Burbank, California. Burton was not an academic and he didn't socialize. Rather than studying or playing out with his friends, he used to create stop frame animations in his back garden. In his later life, Burton won an Emmy Award in 1990 for an outstanding animated program in the film Beetlejuice.
We're calling on Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Who's no ordinary ghost.
You don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house. I want to get somebody out of your house.
Burton also was nominated, but was unsuccessful in the award ceremonies in the films Big Fish in 1990.
The best I can do is to tell it the way he told me.
If there was one thing you can say about that broom,
was that I was intended for larger things. I was the biggest thing Ashton had ever seen.
The Corpse Bride in 2006.
Well, our girl was a beauty known for miles around when a mysterious stranger came into town. He was plenty good looking, but down on his cash. And our poor little baby, she fell hard and fast when her daddy said no. She just couldn't cope.
And Frankenweenie in 2013.
We can do better. Bigger.
Rise, Colossus, from your tomb!
Vincent Price was an American actor who provided the narration for Burton's short film, Vincent.
He likes to experiment on his dog, Abercrombie, in the hopes of creating a horrible zombie. So he and his horrible zombie dog could go searching for victims in the London fog.
Vincent Price's last screen appearance before his death on October the 25th, 1993 was in Edward Scissorhands, where he played Edward's inventive father. Burton casted him to be the same as what Burton felt about Price as a mentor. The term mise en scène is a French term meaning placing on stage. Mise en scène includes the set design, e.g. the props. It also includes lighting and shadow, the actors, and finally the costume and the makeup of the actors. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. Basically, lighting is extremely important in conveying the emotion of the film. For example, there's two lightings you can have in a film. You can either have high key lighting, which is often seen in romantic comedies and musicals, as it has little dramatic effect, and so it's shown in a scene with no tension. On the other hand, low key lighting is seen in horror movies and thrillers because, well, it's to unnerve the audience, it's to make it look scary and to give it a lot more tension. The costumes of the actors and characters are also extremely important in conveying the genre and the feel of the film. As this is a case study on Tim Burton, I'm going to explain about how Tim Burton uses costumes. And Tim Burton is famous for using his gothic, kind of like an animated style, even if in his real life characters. As he recycles, you got Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter, who feature in most of his newest films, like Sweeney Todd and Dark Shadows, which is Tim Burton's latest film. But they've got like dark eyes, they're tall, they're skinny, and they're lanky. They're just really quite quirky. It's dark, gothic. There's examples of it. I'll show you some examples in a minute. There's Sweeney Todd and obviously Dark Shadows. They unnerve, the costumes unnerve the audience. Another way to determine a Tim Burton film is to look out for the reused characters and stars. An example of this is Helena Bonham Carter, who plays the majority of the main female roles. You can obviously tell it's a Tim Burton movie by Helena Bonham Carter's costume, because she's got the big eyes. It's a gothic costume, makeup. Another way to determine what a film made by Tim Burton is Johnny Depp, who is another reused star who plays the majority of the male main protagonists. For example, one of them in Sweeney Todd he plays Sweeney Todd. And in Dark Shadows, he plays the main character. In Alice in Wonderland, he is one of the main characters. He is the Mad Hatter. He plays the main characters in most of the films he stars in. Finally, another important aspect of Tim Burton is the way he uses his set design. Tim Burton uses a very gloomy, gothic, he does the same what he does to his characters. He makes the character go into forests, into dark woods, into spooky, creepy woods. Examples of consistent set designs can be found in The Corpse Bride and The Nightmare Before Christmas. To conclude, Tim Burton is most definitely an auteur. The set design, the lighting and shadow, the costume and makeup, and the actors are all consistent throughout every single film Tim Burton has directed. Now for the next couple of minutes I will be showcasing some of my personal favourite films that Tim Burton has directed.
Now one pussy's good for maybe 6 or 7 at the most, and I'm sure they can't compare as far as taste.
Mrs. Lovett, what a charming notion.
Well,
Eminently
it does
practical,
seem
yet
a
appropriate as always. Mrs. Lovett, how I've lived without you all these years I'll never know.
Think
How
about it,
delectable.
lots of other gentlemen are soon becoming
Also
crucial.
undetectable.
Why they think
How
of
choice,
all
how
that
rare.
voice.
For what's the sound of the world out there?
They've been lost in the past, looking for answers.
Science has turned against us. Join me in repelling the iron fist of the machine.
We awakened something.